The Trump campaign is trolling David Grohl of the Foo Fighters after Dave Grohl is not very happy about Donald Trump using My Hero to introduce RFK as RFK endorses Donald Trump. So let's just let's check out the actual footage that's in question here, and we'll go from there.
To welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
So I'm going to lower it just a little bit so you guys can hear what's going on there. They're using Foo Fighters' My Hero to bring on RFK Jr. as someone who is actually endorsing Trump, which is, it has a lot of people talking. And I don't know if it's going to move any numbers, but it's interesting that RFK, who has said that he was never going to, jump on the Trump train, is now on the Trump train. And, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but what he does seem to be doing is listening to his constituents. And by that, I mean, he's bringing on RFK Jr. He wants to, they have the, Make America Healthy Again, which I think is an amazing thing. Here's the thing. You're not hearing that out of the liberals or Democrats. You're not hearing anything about the health of America. Like, I remember Michelle Obama talked about for a short while, but then I'm sure big food and all these processed food manufacturers are like, shut that bitch up. We can't be having these kids being healthy and shit. They need to be eating our fruit roll-ups and, our I don't know, name a product, Fruit Loops. They need to be on that Fruit Loop train, baby. But you're not hearing that. In fact, what was it? I was hearing on a podcast that they're actually saying, is processed food bad for you? Yes, it is. And the thing about RFK that I like is he talks about like the increase of dementia, childhood obesity, autism, all these things that are sort of correlating with the introduction of these foods. Now, he also talks about vaccines, which there is a correlation with that too. And it seems like it's a combination of all these things, right, that are destroying American diets, American mental health. I mean, ignore the fact that our media and government is literally trying to start a civil war between citizens instead of taking any accountability for their actions and as they loot America. So where are we at? So now David Grohl is mad that RFK wants to make America healthy again. Again, I'm not saying I'm voting for Donald Trump. I'm going Kanye either way. I don't think that Trump is going. Here's the problem. I don't think that whoever wins this presidential election, the other side is going to riot. I just, that's how it is. And the election is going to be called into question, and who was it stolen and all this shit. It's all good. It doesn't matter, because let's not forget that Hillary Clinton was saying that Donald Trump stole the 2016 election. And then as soon as people started saying that about the 2020 election, they made that a taboo subject. We do not talk about stolen elections anymore. But if Donald Trump does win, they're going to erase that history. And it doesn't matter if there's videos, right? Because they're going to just deny, and then just say and go along with whatever they're saying. So it's crazy to think, man. I swear to God, I feel like that what's happening and playing out across America right now is like a bet between two like trillionaires, like those secret dark shadow trillionaires that exist only in theory but actually do exist, and actually like the Rothschilds, right? The Rothschilds and the Saudis, the Saudi princes and royalty, right? They're just sitting around like, I bet we could make people love Kamala Harris even though they hate her. Like during the pandemic, I bet we could turn people against each other. And I bet we could we'll move past it and ignore it like it never even happened. During the pandemic, we'll make neighbors call each other anti-vaxxers. And then as the vaccine starts causing problems and health issues, we'll just ignore that it even happened or deny it. And people will go along with it. And the other trillionaire is like, I bet you can't. People aren't that dumb. Oh, but they are. And guess who's winning? The guy who said that people are dumb. That was probably a bad way of explaining what I was talking about, but it doesn't matter at this point. We're moving forward. So I don't know. I think it's cool that RFK is jumping on the Trump train. If Trump does win, that's a good thing to have. Considering that if RFK takes over the CIA or even like the health minister, RFK is shredded. The current health minister, let's just look at the current health minister, right? Current health, I guess, I don't know if that's what they call them. Admiral Rachel Levine, the Secretary of Health and the head of the United States Health Services. This overweight trans woman is in charge of our health. So I think RFK would be a better choice for that. You know, and it's interesting too because Trump pulled on Tulsi Gabbard, who was a Democrat and ran as a Democratic presidential nominee back in 2020. They were saying that, you know, Hillary Clinton was saying that she was a Russian asset and all this stuff. Anytime you see the establishment turn and say Russia or anything like that, you got to take into consideration that it's just propaganda and lies. So David Grohl was not happy about Trump using their music. And, you know, they didn't clear my hero. Oh, you know what? Let's go over here. We'll start here first because Foo Fighters say they didn't clear my hero for Donald Trump's RFK rally. Will donate royalties to Kamala Harris campaign. And I don't know how many royalties they're going to get, how much money they're actually going to get. The Foo Fighters are clarifying that they did not approve of one of their songs being played during a Donald Trump rally in Arizona. RFK Jr. dropped out of the presidential race, and the independent politician is now backing the former Republican president. You know what's interesting also? RFK has requested that he is taken off the ballots in very important swing states like Michigan and Wisconsin, and they are denying him. And they're saying that he has to stay on the ballot. And so the argument is like, well, why can't Joe Biden stay on that ballot then? If RFK is forced to stay on the ballot, then Joe Biden should be forced to stay. But that's not going to happen, right? Because it's all about however they can swing this shit, right? However they can get as many votes as they can possibly get, good or bad. I mean, look at Texas. Texas just purged 1 million registered voters that were either, and most of them were dead. Some of them were illegal immigrants. You know, the thing is that most of them were dead. Like half of them were dead. So how many states have, you know, 500,000 people registered to vote that are dead? How many states have illegal immigrants that are registered to vote that shouldn't be, which is completely illegal? So I don't know. it's heating up, friends. It's heating up, and I'm looking forward to this season, this campaigning season, this election season. During a rally in Glendale, Arizona, in a swing state, the song "My Hero" was played. Now the band fronted by Dave Grohl is breaking their silence. Let's be clear, the band said on social media. The band shared a screenshot of an exchange with another ex-user asking Foo Fighters if they let Trump use their song, and Foo Fighters, and here we go. Let's be clear. Hey, Foo Fighters, did you let Trump use your song on stage? And they said, no. And it seems like that's when it was brought to their attention, at least publicly online. A Foo Fighters representative said in a statement to EW, or Entertainment Weekly, I think, Foo Fighters were not asked permission, and if they were, they would not have granted it. The band also noted that they would donate the royalties generated from Trump's usage of the song to the Kamala Harris campaign. Earlier this month, Celine Dion's team also publicly rejected Trump campaign from using the singer's "My Heart Will Go On." Now, she was we have a lot of artists who are not happy about what's going on. So here's that. Look, they even used the recording of her singing, too. At a Trump campaign. I can't imagine even. And this is what Celine Dion said. Today's Celine Dion's management team and her record label Sony Entertainment Canada became aware of the unauthorized usage of the video recording musical performance and likeness of Celine Dion, "My Heart Will Go On," at Donald Trump, J.D. Vance campaign in Montana. In no way is this use authorized, and Celine Dion does not endorse this or any similar use. And really, that song, like, they had to add in that song. Like, how dare you use that song? Let's see what the comments say. Doesn't really matter about copyrights or whether someone can or cannot use the song. What matters is that the response was brilliant. Was a brilliant own from Celine's team, no matter how you slice it. And it is ridiculous. It was a ridiculous song to use while being thematically completely in line with Trump's slowly sinking campaign. Unless the law has changed, because our band years ago did not charge to play at parks, churches, banquets, festivals, we were told that we were allowed to use other people's music. My brother DJ'd for years on Friday nights and told the same thing. Because there's no fee to get into these rallies, is it against the law in any way to play these songs? People are far to play these songs right. Aren't okay. This is different. Okay, yeah, this is different than some random party, right? So we're gonna get into the actual laws of this, because they actually can use this even if the artist doesn't want them to use it. And it's because of all the contracts they sign, right? Like, when you're signed into a major label, you are owned in so many ways. And if you don't have an experienced lawyer negotiating, specific things, because there's for instance, like a record company can own the likeness and music of some artists forever in perpetuity. Whether in this world or within the universe, like across the universe, they'll say these things like in perpetuity across the universe. So even if, right, forever they own these songs and can license them however they want, they own them in perpetuity. Even if humans make interplanetary travel and relocate to Mars, set up a colony, and start a fucking music label, or use music online, you still have to get permission from the actual record companies who own the music itself. Because when you're an artist, if you don't negotiate to own your own music, you do not own your music. You only receive music. You're like contracted to make music for the record label so they can sell that music and make money. You just get a piece of that because you happen to be the artist. it's completely twisted. If it sounds twisted, it is completely twisted. So these artists really don't have a choice. It doesn't really matter, but maybe some can, because maybe some of these artists do own their music in a sense that they control where these songs can be licensed to be played. Some artists might have that control. It just depends on what you negotiated. So the fact that these guys are just talking shit, they know for a fact that their label licensed this shit out, and they don't need the permission of the artist. And the deed's already done anyways. Like, he already played Celine Dion. Like, all those people already saw it. The whole internet saw it. It's over. He already got the reaction that he needed. And plus, and plus, they're just moral grandstanding, right? Like Celine Dion, I would never support, really, that song. That song means so much to so many people, and for you to besmirch it at your horrible hate rally. Well, geez, Louise. Anyways, let's keep going here, because we got more artists who aren't happy at all about this shit. And so what does the Trump campaign do? This is what I love. The Trump campaign has a fantastic, whoever's running their social media is murdering the game, because they are making funny ads. I remember the old, what was it, when Joe Biden, they were... Trump posted Joe Biden like looking like he's going to an old folks retirement home. It was just hilarious. It's absolutely just genius, and I have to hand it to him. I know I sound like I'm dick riding for Donald Trump, but I swear to God, I'm not. Like, I don't care for. The only reason is that I just feel like his name is already associated with some kind of violence and separation, and people just, families are divided. So much division, and I know that the Democrats are pushing this and stuff, but I don't feel like either one of these candidates, Kamala or Trump, should be president. So that's how I feel. I don't think that Ye should be president, but I'm just throwing my vote away because fuck them. I can do it. That's my right. So a spokesperson for the ex-POTUS and current GOP presidential nominee hit back at the multi-platinum band today after Dave Grohl and company complained about their hit, My Hero, being used at a weekend rally without the band's consent. And here's what they said. It says, quote, "It's times like these facts matter. Don't be a pretender," Trump's rep Stephen Chang wrote on X. My Hero blared on the PA during a rally. Yeah, we already know that. Chang included a quote from the UK newspaper backing his point. The Independent had tweeted X on Saturday that has seen documents appearing to confirm that the campaign had indeed licensed the song from BMI's Songview service. We have licensed to play the song, and so there you go. It's about BMI, ASCAP, right? They're the ones who are collecting the money and royalties when your music is being played out in public in any way, right? So they control the song catalog, and unless you make a specific request, they're gonna license your music to the top fucking seller, right? Whoever the top buyer is gonna get your music. So it's kind of out of the control, but whatever. Yeah. So there's a long history of campaigns, primarily Republican-facing artists, ire over the use of their music at rallies. Yeah, there's tons of it. And Neil Young was mad, right? Back in 2020, the Rolling Stones threatened to sue Trump for using their timeless track, "You Can't Always Get What You Want." They later were joined by both BMI and ASCAP in decrying use of the band's music. That led to a throng of musicians teaming up with Artists' Rights Alliance, penning an open letter called on major U.S. political parties to establish clear policies requiring campaigns to seek consent of featured recorded artists, songwriters, and copyright owners before publicly using their music at political or campaign setting. Signatories of the letter include the Stones, Elton John, Aerosmith, REM, Green Day, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. The rally music ruckus goes all the way back at least to when Then POTUS and former SAG President Ronald Reagan told the Crown in 1984, America's future rests in 1,000 dreams inside your hearts. It rests in a message of hope in the songs of a man so many young Americans admire. New Jersey's own Bruce Springsteen, the boss who was rising the born in USA wave, and among the world's top acts at the time, made it quite clear he didn't dig that. So even back in the day when Ronald Reagan was in control, he was a Republican. Artists tend to be Democrats and tend to be left leaning, and that's just how it goes. Another thing that came up too, that Donald Trump. So now I don't like how sneaky Donald Trump can be, right? Because he also used Taylor Swift to endorse him. Let me see. So Trump had some AI pictures generated of Taylor Swift backing his campaign, and I'm just trying to see. They're not even going to show the pictures. It's so funny. But it's bad. Like, I don't think that that's okay. I honestly don't think that it's okay for Donald Trump to use these kind of tactics, because there are some people out there who are going to believe
it. Online with some social media posts suggesting
NDTV?
That pop icon Taylor Swift is backing him in the upcoming election. Trump notably harbored a grudge against Taylor Swift, so at first many people found that rather surprising.
So the post is, I accept, and he posted this on his Truth Social, and I believe on Instagram too, or was it just True Social? But it has AI generated pictures of young white women saying Swifties turning to Trump after ISIS foiled Taylor Swift concert. It's a fake headline because of what happened in Europe with a possible terrorist attack, and plus the stabbing of those young ladies. It's suggesting that Swifties are turning to Trump. There is also a picture of Taylor dressed like Uncle Sam saying Taylor wants you to vote for Donald Trump. So Swifties for Trump, all this stuff. So it's very interesting.
Pictures. Now let's dive deeper into those images. Take a closer look at your screens right now. These are a series of AI, artificial intelligence generated images or pictures that are turning.
So some people, I'm sure, bought into that, right? There was all outcry, and I think that's wrong. Like, we do need to get some sort of legislation going to protect artists and public figures' likeness in regards to AI, because it's getting crazy. We talked about Tennessee. They have their Elvis legislation that they called it the Elvis bill or something like that, but it's to do exactly that, is to protect artists, their likeness and music and voice and everything from AI potentially making them look terrible or doing terrible things. And we remember what happened to poor Taylor Swift. She was she was being trolled by the people, and having making it look like she was getting gangbanged by the Kansas City Chiefs. I saw the pictures. They're kind of hot. I mean, the lines are blurring, friends. In any case, I think the most wildest response was Jack White. He is so fervently against Donald Trump, and people like viscerally hate Donald Trump. I can't even muster up that much energy to hate somebody. I don't care. Donald Trump is not going to destroy the world, right? Like, I don't even believe in the office of the presidency anymore. Who's running the show right now? Is Joe Biden running the show? I saw him at the beach waving to passerbyers. Who's running the country? It just highlights that there's no one person in charge. It's a collective of of a shadow government. There's nobody running. There's no one in charge except for the people who are who have the guns, right? So let's see. Jack White threatens Donald Trump campaign with lawsuit. Don't even think about using my music. So someone posted this. Let's go down here. And again, we might not play the whole thing just because Jack White is such a twat. And, you know, I'm sure I'll get this video taken down for, you know, copyright infringement. But here we go. We can watch this. This says, President Donald Trump departs from Michigan to Wisconsin. Serious swing states that he's really working hard on. So, it's going to take us to Instagram. So here it is. Now, 7 Army. Here, we'll play a little bit. What's going on? Why isn't it working? Oh, I know why. So it started over. So it's just this. Here's the thing. It's a stupid 10-second video. Here's the thing. I don't even think Donald Trump's camp put it out. I think it was just somebody using the music from like Instagram or whatever, because you can put music from Instagram on your videos or TikTok or YouTube, all of them, right? You can put your, music from their library on there. So let's see if this talks about more of the details. The 7-nation army couldn't hold Jack White. A 7-nation army couldn't hold. I hate that. In a heated Instagram post, the White Stripes rocker reshared a tweet seemingly posted by the former president's deputy director of communications, Margot Martin, featuring a video of Trump ascending the stairs of a plane as the iconic bass riff of 7-Nation Army plays. He said, quote, "Oh, don't even think about using my music, you fascists." Again, Donald Trump was in office for 4 years. He left when he lost. He lost. I don't understand. If he gets back in, it's going to be more of the same bullshit, but probably with a economic crisis that they're going to blame him for. And if Kamala wins, then they're going to blame Trump for the economic crisis, because an economic crisis is coming. Okay. So he continues saying, quote, "Lawsuit coming from my lawyers about this to add to your 5,000 others." He continued, "Have a great day at work today, Margot Martin. And as long as I'm here, a double fuck you to Don Old for insulting our nation's veterans at Arlington, you scum. You should lose every military family's vote immediately from that, if anything makes sense anymore." What is he talking about, the Arlington? Is that the thing that they're talking about where Joe Biden keeps repeating that he went and made fun of these kids and of these soldiers and called them losers? Let's make sure. Is this what Joe Biden keeps repeating? U.S. Army rebukes Trump campaign for Arlington Cemetery. Let's see what CNN said, because they're so balanced. The U.S. Army issued a stark rebuke to former President Donald Trump's presidential campaign over the incident on Monday at Arlington National Cemetery, saying in a statement on Thursday that participants in the ceremony were made aware of federal laws. What? Regarding political activity at the cemetery, and abruptly pushed aside an employee of the cemetery. Participants in the August 26th ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DoD policies which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. An ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside, the Army spokesperson said in the statement on Thursday. Section 60 is an area in the cemetery largely reserved for the graves of those who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. this is a quote: "The incident was unfortunate, and it is also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked. ANC is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with the dignity and respect the nation's fallen deserved," the statement said. The Army spokesperson said while the incident was reported to the police department at Joint Base Mayor Henderson Hall, the employee in question decided not to press charges, so the Army considers this matter closed. The Army's statement is a rare rebuke from a military service. It is loath to get in the middle of highly political issues. It's also not the first time there has been a controversy involving Trump related to the military, as his campaign looks to make the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan under a Biden administration a key election issue. Asked about the Army's statement on Thursday, Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh said the Defense Department is aware of the statement that the Army issued, and we support what the Army said. Of course they did. Trump was visiting the cemetery following a wreath laying honor 13 U.S. military service members who were killed in Kabul's airport's Abbey Gate in Afghanistan 3 years ago. A video of the visit posted by Trump campaign on TikTok showed the video of the former president walking through Arlington and visiting the grave sites, with audio of him criticizing Biden administration's disaster of the Afghanistan withdrawal. Accounts of the incident on Monday have varied, with Trump campaign insisting that there were no violations of the law, while the cemetery officials have said they were told ahead of time to avoid political activity. NPR first reported that there had been some verbal and physical altercation. So basically, it's against the law for any kind of a political activity to go on. No, I did hear it. I can't confirm.
What is the Army
that Trump was invited by the family of the fallen soldiers. So I'm not sure if this was something, because it looks like there's only video on phone, so someone's recording it on the phone, whether it's part of his campaign or not. I don't know if he's doing this. I mean, everything is campaigning, right? Like, even this is campaigning. So if this is against the law, then maybe something should be done about it. But what the fuck? I don't see, if the family is inviting Trump to do this, I don't see what the problem is. Why are people mad? If he's violating the law, then yes, this is bad. But it doesn't seem like he made that part of his campaign. Like, he just sort of did that and the video got leaked. But let's see what CNN says about it. I'm not sure of all the details. Obviously, I wasn't completely sure what Jack White was talking about. And this is what he's talking about.
He's saying in this rare statement.
Manu, this is a fairly remarkable statement, both, as you point out, because of the rebuke of the Trump campaign, and then for standing up to the Arlington National Cemetery employee who was involved in this. The statement doesn't mention the Trump campaign or former President Donald Trump explicitly, but it's also very clear to what it's referring. Here is a part of this statement. Let me read this to you. Participants in the August 26th ceremony and subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DoD policies which clearly prohibit political activities. An Arlington National Cemetery employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside. ANC is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with dignity and respect.
Yeah, we know
In that statement, the Army basically says the visit as it was carried out in Section 60, which is where fallen service members from Iraq and Afghanistan are buried, was a violation of federal law. That law explicitly states memorial services and ceremonies at Army National Military Cemeteries will not include partisan political activities. That's where they say the visit violated federal law. But afterwards, a member of the Trump campaign also suggested the Arlington employee with which this altercation happened was, quote, a despicable individual, and someone even suggested that she might have mental health issues. Here, the Army stood by their employee, praising her professionalism and saying it's an incredibly important and sacred job she has at Arlington National Cemetery. Once again, Manu, an incredible statement in this rebuke.
She's fucking crazy. Okay, so what it seems like is that this employee hates Trump, and saw an opportunity and was, and these people are goaded by the party, and they all come together and lockstep, and they're going against Trump. So they're just drawing this up. It seems like Jack White is just drinking the Kool-Aid, and that sucks because I love Jack White. I love his solo music. I love, the White Stripes. They're an amazing band. And I understand that if you're an artist, you don't want your music being used. But here's the thing. You signed the contracts. BMI sold you out, bitch. You know what? I wanted to go look. Where was the... I don't care about that anymore. Or that... Where was that thing that they were trying to do? Classic rock demand clearance for here it is. This is what I want to look into. So people are trying to create a law. When is this from? This is from 2020. So this is back in 2020, and this is what they were talking about when Rolling Stone and a bunch of other people signed, and they want to make it law to protect their music against political campaigns, but it's not because it's not in their control. Because they signed the contracts. They signed away their right to control what's going on. Now, I'm sure Mick Jagger could be like, hey, make sure that motherfucker never uses my music in this shit ever again. And I'm sure something's going to get done about that. I'm sure the Trump campaign will not be using Rolling Stone anymore. But I want to read a little bit more about this because I missed this back in 2020. Let's see. They're among a dozen big names who are teaming up with the Artists' Rights Alliance to call on major U.S. political parties to establish clear policies requiring campaigns to seek consent of featured recording artists, songwriters, and copyright owners before publicly using their music in a political or campaign setting. Also, among those inking the letter is Elton John, blah, 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 blah. We know that. And this is from the Artists' Rights Alliance. This is a tweet back in 2020. No artist should be forced to compromise their values or be associated with politicians they don't respect or support. To defend free speech and political expression, we're calling on campaigns to get permission before using music at political. To protect free speech, you must have permission to speak or to express. Hey, and I'm not against that, by the way. I don't like that they use free speech to fucking, persuade people. But I'm not against artists being like, hey, I don't like Trump. I don't want his music. I don't want him playing our music. Fuck him. The news comes among a flood of recent complaints by musicians griping about their songs being used by Donald Trump's re-election campaign. As Deadline reported exclusively last month, performing rights by artist groups BMI and ASCAP have warned the president's team against using certain songs at rallies or in other events. At the forefront of the initiative are Rolling Stones, who You Can't Always Get What You Want has been a staple through the Trump events of the year. The band's Mick Jagger, Keith Richards are among the musicians who signed the open letter, but they certainly weren't alone. Numerous other acts have publicly objected to the songs at Trump's campaign rallies, including Neil Young, whose Rockin' in a Free World was played when Trump announced his candidacy after descending an escalator at the Trump Tower in New York in June 2015. Queen for his use of We Are the Champions and yada, 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 yada. So here is the complete. So this is the campaign committee. I'm not going to read all that, but here are the people who signed it. Aerosmith, B-52s, Dan Navarro, Elvis Costello, Joe Perry, Lionel Richie, Mick Jagger, R.E.M., Sia, Sheryl Crow, T-Bone. Again, not against this, but they don't really have a say. And so they're trying to make it so they have a say. I don't know what ended up happening to this. What ended up happening to this? Among Artists' Rights Alliance. I don't think they got anywhere with it. Advocating for rights. So they're just a thing. I mean, they're not really making anything. Here's the thing. You're telling BMI and ASCAP to turn down money. You're telling corporations to turn down money. You're fucking out of your mind if you think that they're going to listen to that. So here's a list of musicians that are apparently suing him. Beyonce is going to be. Trump once claimed that he punched his second grade music teacher because he thought they didn't know anything about music. Well, clearly, what? These appropriations have historically backfired, blah, 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 blah. So here we go. Starting with the most recent, White Stripes. Here we go. Sinead O'Connor. Now, the estate of late singer Sinead O'Connor provoked issuing a statement against Trump after Republican nominee played her cover of Prince's Nothing Compares to You at a Maryland rally in March of this year. So Sinead O'Connor has passed. The Smiths, please, please, please consider this shit shut down. I remember this was the Smiths frontman Johnny Marr's response when the band single Please, Please, Please had been used as pre-rally music. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, Celine Dion, we went over that. Sam and Dave, hold on, I'm coming. An ongoing lawsuit was filed earlier this month when it emerged that Trump had been using soul classic Hold On, I'm Coming at various speaking events. The estate of composer Isaac Hayes is demanding $3 million in damages resulting from copyright infringement between 2022 and 2024 with a court date set for September 5th. So we'll see what happens in that, because whatever happens in this case will set a precedent for other artists. So I'm guessing that he's going to win. That Isaac Hayes estate will win, and then they're going to use this they're going to use this against him for all the other suits, because anything they can to take down Trump. It's just anytime the establishment goes hard against something or for something, you know that there's some weird evil shit behind it, because that's what it is. The establishment is evil. They have become an evil entity that is only here to make more money for themselves and their friends. They don't care what happens to America. They have no pride in their country. They don't care about this country. They're selling it piece by piece. They're selling the land to the Chinese. They don't care. They're selling out our children's futures. They do not care. They're only here for immediate returns, and everything else can go by the wayside. And that's who we're dealing with here. And they will destroy Trump if they are allowed to. Let's see. In particular, the estate criticized Trump's use of the track at the National Rifle Association event in May 2020, instead emphasizing their sympathy for victims in Uvalde mass shooting, which had taken place days earlier. So, I guess that's not a good look, but what are you going to do? My hero, of course, Beyonce, Freedom. Less than a month after Harris campaign debuted their support for Beyonce with the track Freedom, a video was also posted on X depicted Trump using the song at a rally in Detroit. Unsurprisingly, they were promptly served a cease and desist. Now, you can get a cease and desist, but they still got they got the money. They already paid for the license, bitch. ABBA. Money, money, money. Late last night, ABBA joined the long queue of artists aggrieved by Trump's campaign when the group discovered that the Republican nominee had played multiple hits, including Money, 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 The Winner Takes All, and Dancing Queen at rallies throughout the year. In an official statement, the group demanded that the campaign cease using their music, as well as requesting that all footage containing the hit also be taken down. Still, out of all the tracks he's appropriated, Money, Money, Money feels like a pretty good fit for Trump. Does feel like a good fit for Trump. So this is from Dazed. Those are the current lawsuits. I don't know how far they'll get, but I am interested to see. We'll be following the Isaac Hayes story too. So Here's why candidates like Trump can use these songs. Why can candidates use songs at rallies? And we kind of been going over this, but this will give you a little bit more broader or a more acute sense of what it is. Why can candidates use songs at rallies without artist permission? Political candidates can use songs at rallies without the artist's direct permission because of blanket licenses. These licenses are used by performing rights organization pros like ASCAP and BMI and grant broad permissions for the public performance of songs from the catalog. So again, you sign these contracts. BMI and ASCAP are working for artists, and they are just there to make money for themselves and the artists. How do pros obtain songs rights? This is very easy. You just go to the website, but let's see what they say. Artists like Apple allow pros to manage their music rights by signing an agreement. That gives the pro the authority to license their music for public performance. This agreement ensures that the artist receives royalties whenever their music is played publicly, whether on the radio, in venues, or at events like rallies. While artists may foresee situations where they would object to their songs being used, such as political rally, they often rely on pros to handle the complex task of tracking and collecting royalties. Right, because if we had to do that every time our song was played somewhere, we would never get paid. So this company is directed. Overall, it's a great company. I'm not trying to shit on them. They're just trying to make money for themselves first and for artists. So that's great. I love that BMI exists. I'm part of BMI. I get a check. I just got a check today, or not a check, but a money transfer to my PayPal today from CD Baby, who is my distributor of my music. So I just got another royalty check, and BMI. Thankfully, BMI exists so they can get my money. While artists... Oh, wait. Hold on. Let's see. Examples of artists objecting to the use of their songs. Bruce Springsteen, yes. Adele, yeah, for Ronald Reagan. Adele, Trump, yeah. It's all Trump. Mitt Romney, the Silver Sun pickups. That's funny. So there you go. They sold themselves out already. It doesn't matter. And I'm not saying they're sellouts because they're just trying to make money off of their art. It's completely fine. But it's, they want to act like, oh my God, they did it without my permission. And it's like, bitch, you gave your permission when you signed up for BMI. So that's it. That's all. I can't imagine. Look at this. All artists that don't want Trump to use their music. Anyways, yeah. So there's nothing really they can do except for, we'll see what happens with Isaac Hayes and their estate. And there's nothing really you can do about it other than send a cease and desist. And after that, they can, I guess, technically control what goes on with their music if they get lawyers involved and stuff. But again, the Trump campaign probably has lawyers that make sure that these things are bought and paid for. And what are they going to do about it? Nothing. Anyways, that's it for now. Make sure y'all guys are liking and subscribing. We'll see you on the flippity flop.